Hi everyone, this is a quick tutorial regarding crystal points. You can get points which have both ends with points. I'm trying to look for one. I have got some, probably not here. You could say you could use both ends with that. Right, okay, that's got a semi-point on both ends. But yeah, you do have points which, like I said, they have a point on either end, or majority of points that people use have got just one point. Really important, like with everything to do with crystals, cleanse, 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 cleanse and recharge. That is really, really important. Otherwise, that's all you've got on your hands is a stone. By recharging the crystals, you will be using them at the best, at the fullest, and they will work amazingly well for you. What's really important with crystal wands, and there's nobody else in the room here with me except a load of spirited dolls. With crystals, you've got to be really, really careful with crystal wands, or points. These are wands because there are different crystals that's been attached onto a point, so it's called a wand. A crystal point is literally that. It's a crystal point with a point. You can get them in all different crystals. You will find a lot of clear crystals, amethyst point, rose quartz point. There's loads and loads of different ones. Like I said, with crystal points, it's important if you have been working with somebody, or even on yourself or an animal, or like I said, with somebody else, if you have not cleansed your point and you aim or point your crystal point or wand towards somebody else or something else, and you haven't cleansed your wand or your point, and this is getting really confusing, you are technically, possibly, going to be aiming all the negative rubbish and energy and stuff that you've pulled off somebody or yourself. You could be pointing that stuff and energy and negative rubbish that people collect on their bodies or auras straight into somebody else, and nobody wants that at all. So what I always say is, if somebody is waving a point around, ask them to stop straight away, or ask them to hold a tip in their hand, so there is no way to be pointing it or aiming it at somebody else. If they're using the point on your body, or you're using it on somebody or yourself, that's fine. That's no problem at all. There are loads of different ways. A point on a crystal is there for a reason. It's to go into a certain area. If you're drawing negative energies out of somebody, or you're trying to move it away from the body, or you're trying to do psychic surgery or anything like that, which is for the very, very advanced, by the way, it is a way to pinpoint on the body a specific area, and by doing that, the best way to do it is with a crystal point. Again, always hold the point in your hand. Don't be waving it about. I've literally been to crystal markets and crystal events and things. You've got people picking them up and they're waving the points around. They've just been used on people, and I'm like, oh my God, you really haven't got a clue what you're doing. So yeah, if you've been using a crystal point on somebody or yourself and you haven't finished with the crystals yet, hold the point in your hand, usually downwards, so it's pointing to the ground or the earth or whatever is under you, and that anything that negative you have taken away from the body or away from yourself or away from whoever you're working with, there is no way that can be pointed at somebody or something else, because you've got more work on your hands to do, and somebody else's negative rubbish or energy, whatever you want to call it, can hurt other people emotionally. I'm not saying physically, but it can cause a lot of damage to some people, especially if they're poorly or they have other emotional issues that are being worked on. Crystals are amazing, and people really don't give crystals enough credit. I've worked with crystals now for many years, and even now I am still learning and learning and learning. With wands, there are numerous ways and reasons to use wands. I like this because it's got the chakra colours. If you're unfamiliar with chakras, please look them up. I'm not going to cover that in this tutorial. But you've got a small crystal ball at the top, which is a small generator. You've got the point at the bottom, so you can actually divert the energy in, or you can subtract the energy out, withdraw the energy out. You've also got all the power of the chakra colours. So if you're working on a chakra point on the body, which there are quite a few, there are the basics, but once you learn the basics, you will be made aware there are quite a lot more on the body as well. So yeah, you've got all the powers from all the other, and these are like crystal chips. This one actually cost me a small fortune. But yeah, you can make your own with wood, and put whatever your favourite crystals are on it. But again, if you want to use it as a point, don't be waving it around, and especially if you've just been using it. If you've cleansed it, and all mine are cleansed, if you've cleansed it, by all means, you can be waving it around, having a good look at it. But if you've been using it, don't be pointing it at people or animals or whatever, because you are technically moving negative, footprints or negative energies from one person to another, and it's not fair. It's not nice either. This has got, again, the chakra, I don't know if you can see that, the chakra crystals on it, and it's got resin around it, again, with a clear crystal quartz sphere on top, and a crystal point at the bottom. Again, you can be withdrawing negative energies out of somebody. You can be forcing goodness into people, good vibrational energies, positive energies. You can be pushing it into somebody, certain areas of the body, usually on the chakra points, or if you've picked up any other areas. Fantastic wands to have. A lot of people use selenite wands, which is a slab of selenite, which is similar to that, but obviously of selenite. And you can actually make your own, where you can stick your own specific crystals that you want to use, or the chakra colour crystals. And obviously you need to attune or program the wand to what you want it to do. Quite simple. You can use little crystal points like this on crystal grids. I used to, I actually need to do one. I used to do crystal grids every month. It used to keep me on the straight and narrow mentally, and with goals and aims. And yeah, you can do a crystal grid if you want to attract good people into your life, or if you want good health, if you want money coming, you want to attract new friends, a new job. And it kind of like puts it out there with good intention, with the power of the crystals. You can choose your own crystals, clear quartz crystals, and these are actually from my old crystal grids that I used to have. Always have a big generator crystal, and then smaller crystals, the little tumblestones, off. Again, you've got to program the crystal grid, which is easy. That's all you've got to do, is to tell the grid what you want it to do. You can actually buy crystal grid templates, which you can then put your crystals on the grid. You can either buy it in paper or plastic or cut out on wood. and do the crystal grid to how you want it, with obviously the intention that you want the crystal grid. Obviously program the crystal grid from Tethan, and then obviously you know, hoping that whatever you're aiming for or wanting with the crystal grid, that it comes, you know, sets you on the right path with it. I always suggest to update, or obviously you need to cleanse the crystals on the crystal grid at least once a month. You can either keep the crystals on the crystal grid and cleanse them. So obviously you can use the smudge stick. You can be swirling the smoke from the smudge stick over all the crystals, saying that you wish to cleanse, but you do not wish to move the crystals, so you wish to cleanse. You can say a little prayer or a chant, whatever works for you. And you don't need to break up the crystal grid, but I always think it's always best to undo the crystal grid and update it. Either add to it, take crystals away, or totally revamp it. You may have got something new that you want to do or aim for, and yeah, it's a good way of good intentions. It keeps you focused, and it does help. It really does help. Obviously you've got to believe in it, like with a lot of things. The more you believe, the more it will work for you. People assume, oh, I'll do a crystal grid to win the lottery. It doesn't work like that. Try it. You may get money through. It could be just a £5 or $5, whatever, on a scratch card, but in the end you have won something. You know, if only it was that easy that you can do a crystal grid for the intentions of winning the lottery and you win millions. I think there'd be a lot of very rich crystal healers or users, whatever you want to call it, in this world, if that was actually viable to do that. But yeah, like I said, crystal points, never point them at anybody unless you're during a healing. If you're using them on yourself, always point them to yourself. Another thing I want to go over as well, if for example, if you have a bad knee, this is my knee here. If you have a bad knee and you wish to do some crystal healing on your knee, obviously there's certain crystals which will help to get over the whether it's a trauma or if it's nerve pain, bone pain, muscle pain, whatever, rheumatism, blah blah blah. Look at what the best crystals are to use for the problem that you've got, for example, in your knee. Cleanse the crystals, obviously. Do a crystal healing on you. I'm not going to do a crystal healing tutorial in this video. But as much as you want to put as much good into your, for example, your knee, you also need to withdraw all the negative, and it is negativity, negative energy, negative footprint away from your knee as well. So by doing that, you always use the point, which you can see there's a nice little point on this this little crystal. So you need the point. You always need to do it in a clockwise, because anti-clockwise is undoing what you're doing. So you want to do it. So always clockwise, and bring it out of your knee or whatever you're doing it on. Bring it out. So as you're bringing it out, you will now have whatever you've brought out of, for example, your knee, you've got it on the end of your crystal here. You then need to take it, just like with a pendulum, you need to take it and then release. You need to release it up to the light. You can again say a prayer or do a chant or whatever. You know, you wish to release all the negatives that are in my knee, and I wish to release you up to the light. You can take the point and you can point it up, but as you're pointing it up, make sure that you're not pointing it as somebody else that's in the room, or if you've got a dog, which you can hear my dogs are in the background, you're not pointing that what you've just removed from your knee, my knee, at somebody else. You need to get rid of it, and get rid of it quick, up to the light, and let it go. So yeah, like I said, if you're doing any crystal healings, aura cleansing, even aura checking, if you're doing it with a crystal or a point, always make sure that you're not pointing it at somebody. When you are finished, get rid of whatever negative, and it is rubbish usually, negative energies or the negative footprints that you've pulled out of the area that you've been working on. Make sure that it goes up to the light and just let it go. You don't want it hanging around. You don't want it clung onto you. If you're doing a healing on somebody else, you need to let it go so it can go to wherever it needs to go and be done with it. You know, you don't want it hanging around. So to recap, don't point your crystal points or wands at people unless you're doing a healing, and then you need to be using the point on that area and then release whatever you've collected from that area. Crystal wands, which are these, fantastic items to have. I'd always suggest, if you are serious about working with crystals, have at least one. Make one. It's really personal to you then. What majority of crystal healers do, they go out for a lovely walk, they come across this lovely twig that, you know, needs to be quite a few inches long, so you can shape it into whatever shape that you want to do with it. Usually birch wood or oak wood, that's usually the best wood to bring home. Obviously dry it out if you need to treat it or varnish it or whatever, and then if you wish to stick crystals or entwine crystals around it, a lot of people you know, they put metal wire, like what it is with that pendulum. They'll wrap it around. They'll put tumblestones or even raw little crystals on, and they'll entwine it with wire. And then obviously you need to program it. You need to program the wand or the point as in what you want it to do for you. Like I said, with the pendulums, you need to cleanse before you start. You need to cleanse at the end. When you're finished at the end, you need to clear down and cleanse your room or wherever you are as well. You need to collect all the negatives that are in the air or around you, or if you've been working near or on a couch, you need to start at the body, whether this is on you or somebody else or an animal. You need to start at the head. You need to cleanse all the way down, from the head all the way down the body to the feet, collect all the negative rubbish, and it is nothing else except for rubbish, negative footprints that you, and I don't mean footprints, it's like residual energy that you're collecting down, and it's bad stuff. It's what makes you sad and lethargic and like that all the time. And it's also what people, negative people, it's what you get from negative people on negative things. You feel sad, you feel down in the dumps and things like that. It's also when you're feeling poorly. It's that feeling of just being down. You can remove a lot of that from people, and obviously you can then provide them with energy boosting crystals to wear or have on their body and in a pocket, or you know, something like that. You can also give people crystals that will boost their sleep. Have a few certain ones, and I'm not going to go into it now. Have a few certain ones by the side of the bed or under your pillow or under your mattress, and they do work regardless what you think. If you believe in it, they will work. You need to program them so they know what you want them to do. Cleanse them before, cleanse them after, and things like that. So anyway, I think I have covered what I needed to cover. So there's points. You can get points with crystal points with points on either end. You can get them with just one end. You can get crystal wands, which are these. You can make your own crystal wands. You can get little crystals, which you can then use in crystal grids. Absolutely fantastic to do, and it's something to look forward in doing every month as well, setting your intentions and things like that. If anybody wants me to do any other specific tutorials to do with healing, crystals, Reiki, anything like that, I can go further into cleansing either people or rooms or anything like that. I can go a little bit further with using pendulums if need be. Please, by all means, drop me a comment below under the video and let me know what you want to know more about. I am, like I said, a fully qualified crystal healer. I'm a Reiki master, have been for 4 years now, 3.5, 4 years now. I know a lot about angels. I have done angel communication. I have a qualification in that as well. Animal communication. I also read numerous different types of cards, but I am not a tarot reader. Big difference. I am not a tarot reader, but I can read other like angel healing cards, health cards, other different cards, but tarot cards, no, I don't touch them, and there are a couple of reasons for that. Spirited dolls, I know a lot about them. Shamanic healing, I am learning a lot more about that, going back into it, as I did have a break for 3 years from it. And what else? If you want to know about how to protect yourself with crystals, let me know. I'm trying to think what else. Anything you want to know about crystals, I can do a tutorial on it. Just give me a bit of time. So yeah, anything you want to know, drop it in some comments below and I will put a tutorial together. If you need to know or want to see evidence of spirited dolls or spirit, let me know. And if you want to see the VBE Master Suites, EMF or the Geo, as you can hear them, working with spirited dolls and spirits, let me know. They are also, not these dolls in this room, but another room, a couple of other dolls, they are working with the VBE X1 and they're doing really well with it. I will bring the X1 into with these spirits shortly to get them going with it, but the tablets that I'm using in here doesn't actually run the X1. It just doesn't have the right sensors on it. So yeah, anything else that you want to know, if you want to know more about angels, negative energies, how to protect yourself, connecting with spirits in a deeper manner, if you need to know about meditation, I am being asked by quite a few people about meditation. I can do a couple of tutorials on this, which hopefully you will find. I will not be doing a meditation as in a guided meditation, but I can tell you the do's, the don'ts, the how's, additional things that you can do during meditations and all the huge benefits that meditation can bring to you as well. So anyway, this is going on a little longer than it should have been. I hope the tutorial will have helped you with some crystal points and wands. If you want to see any of the crystals, I have hundreds, believe me, I have hundreds of crystals. Let me know if you want to know about angels. I have a lot of knowledge about angels as well. Protection, negative stuff, let me know. Drop a comment in below. Okay, thank you.